So now let's get back and look at slides again. I probably in the previous video said wrong. I said for to tag the ACK number, you should use the blind reset. Actually, it's the data packets. Okay, I probably said wrong. I apologize. Okay. So now let's see this slides. This actually put together a very good summary of why does this vulnerability exist. Okay. So first, let's trace back. Why do we even have RFC 5961? Because it says, oh, we have a blind reset attack. Why do we have blind reset attack? Because we don't check the package carefully enough. So let us check the packets very carefully. Okay, we will make sure all the parts look correctly. And how do we do that? We actually will introduce something called a challenge ACK. Okay, if there's anything suspicious, let's send out a challenge ACK and double verify. Okay, the original idea is great. Okay, and then they said, wait a minute, this blind, challenging ACK, the challenging ACK could become a DOS attack problem, right? If I have to send out thousands of challenging ACK, that's really bother the other party. So how do I do that? I will limit the rate. The default value will be, for every second, I will send out 100 challenge ACK tops. The two things combined together actually provide a side channel attack for the bad guy to derive out whether or not his guess is correct. So how do they do that? First, they use the SIM packet to figure out what is the port number of the client, because for the port number and the SIM packet, any sequence number will lead to a challenge ACK. And then it will need to use the blind reset packet, because now I already know the IP address and the port number. You can see the blue ones shows the information I already know. And if I can guess the sequence number in the receiver's window, I will be able to cause a challenging ACK, so I can verify whether or not the sequence number falls into the window. And the last, I will send out data packets. By this time, the IP address and port number, the 4 tuple I already guessed correctly. I also know the in-window sequence number. The only thing is I can use an old acknowledge number in the challenging window to cause another challenging ACK. So in this way, I will also learn from the server what is the expected sequence number at the client. And now I will be able to inject dirty data into the other party. Okay, so this is the summary. And we will not, so this part, if you look at the slides, the vulnerability is basically how do they figure out each piece of information like we covered in the previous videos. So we will not go through the details. Here you can see it's basically you are sending out one challenge, 100 reset, you should receive 100 challenge ACK. On the contrary, you should only receive 99. So that's exactly the ones that we just introduced. So we will not go through the details. Okay. Okay, here is the beauty. If you recall, in the first video of this series, when we talk about off-path TCP attack, we said traditional blind reset attack, you need to guess the port number and guess the sequence number, right? You remember that part? Under that case, we say very clearly that you need to guess the port number, which is 2 to the power of 16, and the sequence number, which is 2 to the power of 32. Okay, 2 to the power of 16 is 64,000, and 2 to the power of 32, which is 4 giga. This is actually 4 times 10 times to the power of 9. This is 6.4 times 10 to the power of 4, if my memory is correct. So okay, so now let's see the problem. If you have to guess all the combination together, you are going to take the guess of 10 to the power 4 here, which is a port number, 10 to the power 4, and then 10 to the power 9, which is the sequence number. Here is 4 times 10 to the power 9, and there's another 10 to the power 9. This is ACK number. This is ACK number. So altogether, you will have 10 to the power 22 guessing space. This is huge. This is huge. In the new attack that we illustrated here, they serialized the whole procedure. In other words, I will first figure out what is the port number. At this time, when I try to figure out the port number, I don't have to worry about the sequence number or ACK number. So this is actually an independent operation. I only need to worry about 10 to the power 4. And then I can figure out the sequence number. Again, at this moment, I don't have to worry about the port number because I already know that. I don't have to worry about the ACK number because it has nothing to do with ACK number. So now for this round, my overhead is 10 to the power 9. And again, by the time I need to figure out 10 to the power 9, the ACK number, I only needed to consider this because all the previous two pieces of information, I already figured them out. So now let's see what is the overhead. The overhead will be 10 to the power 4 for you to figure out the port number, plus 10 to the power of 9 to figure out the sequence number, plus 10 to the power of 9 to figure out the ACK number. Okay, this is the new way of attack. In the old way is 10 to the power 4 times 10 to the power of 9 times 10 to the power of 9. Can you see the difference? The difference is this overhead is only 10 to the power of 9, and this overhead is 10 to the power of 22. That is why the brand new attack designed in 2016 is so darn efficient. Actually, in their slides, they claim that they can accomplish the whole attack, the three-phase attack, within 1 minute. Okay. Let's see some experiment data. Okay, they have some optimization doing binary search, and we don't care too much about that. So let's see some of this fantastic evaluation result. Okay, you can see on the left side, they have on the y direction, they have how many seconds do you need to figure things out. Okay, to finish the attack. And they actually do it in 4 phases. One is time synchronization between the victim and the attacker. Okay, we do not have time to go through the details, but the 3 parts showing here, you need to figure out the port number, the sequence number, and acknowledge number. Okay, and the bar height represent the number of seconds. You can see the worst case for the sequence number, you need something shorter than 40 seconds. 40 seconds. Okay. And when you sum them up together, even if you consider, oh, this is 40 seconds and you have 3 bars, 3 times 40, I will have 120 seconds, is still shorter than 2 minutes. That's very, very impressive. Okay. And here they show the attacking time versus how many packets you can send out per second. You remember we say a modern attacker can easily send out 4,000 packets per second. Okay, so you can see the attacking time will decrease exponentially when they have the number of packets that they can send out become larger and larger, the time becomes smaller and smaller. And here is some type of the real test. Okay, this is the termination attack that I believe this is a blind reset attack, and they conducted it on Amazon EC2. And you can see this is from UC Riverside, so they tried different target. They tried to target it in United West Coast, in California or Oregon. They tried somewhere in United States East Coast, in Germany, in Ireland, in Asia, in even South America. And this is the success rate. They conduct a 10 times attack and 10 succeed, or 10 times attack, 9 succeed, and so on and so forth. And this is the average attacking time. You can see all the time can reset your connection shorter than 1 minute. 1 minute. And this is the data hijacking attack, and then they try to inject the fake data into the customer. Okay. So this is the Tor connection reset, and again, this is success rate. You can see this is a little bit worse than the blind reset in the previous one, and this is average time. Okay, and this is the hijacking data attack. Remember, this is pretty tricky because you need to find a web page that is not using HTTPS. Why? If you're using HTTPS, the traffic is all encrypted. So even though you know the port number, the sequence number, and the ACK number, because if it's HTTPS, you will not know the encryption key, so you cannot successfully inject data. On the contrary, if this is using the purely HTTP protocol and the data is not encrypted, then I can use the sequence number and successfully inject data. Okay, here is one attack. Actually, I will post the link on the YouTube for you for this specific attack. So some people is browsing USA Today, which is not using HTTPS. Okay, so the data is transmitted in clear text. And the bad guy figure out what is the sequence number and actually inject a fake advertisement using the USA Today's logo. You can see, so the bottom window, the black window bottom is real, and this small window in the blue circle, in the blue rectangle, is actually fake data injected by the bad guy. They said, hey, in celebration of the 35 years of USA Today, we give out a free iPad and iPhone. Just register to enter the draw. What do you think those bad guys are trying? So basically, they're harvesting your email address, your password, and whatever you are doing. Okay, so this is a very interesting data injection attack. Okay. So in summary, we have introduced this brilliant attack, and they can disable a TCP connection that is not using encryption within 1 minute. And of course, how can you defend against this attack? So it's very interesting. They actually suggested two things to actually defend against attack. Both of them are related to the number of challenge ACK you can send out per second. Okay. Remember, in the old days, the challenge ACK you can send out is 100 per second. This is too low. So what is the brand new suggestion? Let's promote it to 10,000. So now the server can send out 10,000 challenge ACK per second. So let's redraw the figure. Okay. Now the server can send out 10K challenge ACK per second. Remember, just now we showed the attack speed. The bad guy probably will be able to launch the attack as fast as 6,000 packets per second. It is still far from 10,000. So what is the problem now? For the bad guy, hey, you can send me 6,000 SIM packet. You can send me 6,000 SIM packet. I'm fine with it because I can send out 10K challenge ACK. So every one of the 6K, I will give you a challenge ACK. So you cannot figure out whether or not I send something to Alice. Nope, you cannot. The other suggestion is also related to the number of challenge ACK. Instead of 100, they want to make it dynamic. In other words, well, for this second, I can send out 128. Next second, I can send out 5K. Next second, I can send out 3,782. So you will never know how many challenge ACK I can actually send out altogether. Of course, you can send me something and I will give you this, but you will not know, oh, I sent out 6K SIM packet, but I only receive 5,999. Where is the last one? Is it because the upper limit is already 5,999? Or it's actually 6K, but the challenge ACK to Alice occupy that one? You cannot differentiate between the two cases. If that is the case, then you cannot do anything about the attack. Okay. Well, this is a very long series of video, and I hope you learn the attack. Like I said, this is a fantastic attack, very smart, especially when you consider all the attack are based on a whole bunch of security measures trying to defend against such attack. Okay. So that's why you can see, even as a protocol as mature as TCP, the new attack are still showing up. And I hope you learn this from this lesson. And I will see you next week. Thank you.